Have you ever heard a sound so strange, so powerful, that it defied all explanation? Imagine a sound that was louder than a blue whale, the loudest animal on Earth, and it came from the deepest, most remote part of our planet. In 1997, scientists recorded exactly that. They called it the bloop. This ultra-low frequency sound was detected by hydrophones underwater microphones spread thousands of miles apart across the Pacific Ocean. The sound profile was bizarre. It was powerful, rose in frequency over about a minute, and didn't make anything they knew. For years, the mystery of the bloop captured the public's imagination. Was it a military experiment, a geological event, or, as man hoped, a colossal, undiscovered sea monster lurking in the abyss? The source was traced back to a remote point in the southern Pacific, not far from the coast of Antarctica. This only deepened the mystery. What could be hiding in those frigid, uncharted waters? The answer, when it finally came, was just as fascinating, though perhaps less fantastical. After years of further research and listening to the polar oceans, scientists from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, came to a startling conclusion. The bloop wasn't a monster, it was the sound of the Earth itself groaning. Specifically, it was the sound of a massive ice quake, a giant iceberg cracking and breaking away from an Antarctic glacier. When these monumental pieces of ice fracture and decalve, they release an incredible amount of energy, generating powerful sound waves that can travel across an entire ocean basin. So, the monster was ice. But this discovery opened a door to a whole new world of sound in Antarctica, a continent we often think of as silent and still. It turns out, Antarctica is anything but quiet. It has a daily, or rather, nightly symphony of its own. Every night, as the sun sets and the temperatures plummet, a strange phenomenon occurs across the continent's vast ice shelves. Seismologists started noticing a peculiar, continuous humming sound that would start at dusk and last for hours, only to fade away with the sunrise. These weren't isolated events. They were happening all over. It was as if the entire continent was vibrating. Scientists were baffled. What was causing this nightly hum? To solve this puzzle, researchers deployed sensitive seismometers across the Ross Ice Shelf, the largest ice shelf in Antarctica. For 2 years, from late 2014 to early 2017, these instruments listened to the ice. They discovered that the sound was caused by the wind, but not in the way you might think. As the wind blows across the vast, snow-covered dunes of the ice shelf, it causes the top layer of snow and the ice to vibrate. Think of it like a violin bow being drawn across a string. The constant friction of the wind creates a faint, but persistent, seismic hum. The pitch of this hum even changes with the weather. When storms rearrange the snow dunes or when the surface temperature changes, the frequency of the vibration shifts. It's like the ice is singing a song about the weather. This discovery is more than just a cool piece of trivia. It gives scientists a brand new tool to monitor the health of Antarctica's ice shelves. By listening to these vibrations remotely, they can detect changes in the ice surface, light melting or shifts in snow density, without ever having to set foot on the treacherous continent. It is a non-invasive way to get a continuous health checkup on these crucial parts of our planet's climate system. And the answer are the ice quakes. These are much more dramatic than the gentle hum. Similar to the bloop, these are the sounds of ice breaking, but they happen on a smaller, more frequent scale all across the continent. When temperatures fluctuate, ice expands and decontracts. This stress can cause massive cracks to form suddenly, releasing energy as seismic waves and ice quake. Imagine walking across a frozen lake and hearing that deep, unsettling cracking sound. Now, scale that up to a glacier that's miles thick. These quakes can be incredibly powerful, sounding like thunder or a massive explosion echoing through the ice. For the researchers stationed in Antarctica, these sounds are a constant reminder of the dynamic and the powerful nature of the world around them. It's a landscape that is alive and constantly in motion. But what do all these sounds, the bloop, the nightly hum, the constant ice quakes really tell you us? They are the voice of a changing continent. As our planet warms, Antarctica is responding. The sounds are getting more frequent and in some cases, louder. More ice quakes and calving events like the bloop mean that glaciers are breaking apart faster. Changes in the seismic hum could indicate that the ice shelves are thinning or melting from the surface. These sounds are essentially data points in the story of climate change. They are an audible, visceral warning from one of the most remote places on Earth. By listening to Antarctica, we are listening to the pulse of our planet. We're learning how sensitive these massive ice sheets are to even small changes in temperature. The mystery of the bloop might be solved, but the secrets that Antarctica is telling us through its symphony of sounds are more important than ever. From a supposed monster to a critical climate indicator, the story of these sounds shows us that there is always more to discover. And that sometimes, the most important messages come from the quietest corners of the world. We just have to learn how to listen. The sounds of Antarctica are not just random noises. They are the soundtrack of a planet in transition. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to the bottom of the world. If you found this as fascinating as do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of our planet. See you next time.